They're not happy. Allah Akbar. Did you hear that? That's Swedish. That's Swedish. That's Swedish. Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Sweden. I didn't know that was Swedish. I didn't know that. More riots. Rioting footage, guys. Rioting footage. It's always fun to talk about riots. Good old Sweden. Swedish people. I didn't know that Swedish people had that high of Muslim population, but it seems like they do. And there's some riots that are going on over there because there was a right-wing activist, as you know they are, who decided that he was going to burn the Quran. And now, being here in America, we see that type of stuff all the time. People burn Bibles, people burn the flag, they burn everything in effigy so that they can make a point. And that's what this guy was doing, making a point to burn the Quran, especially on a religious holiday like Easter. And you know, when it comes to spirituality and in politics and these types of things, people do take very personally. Now, there's a difference, though, because, yes, you are being an asshole whenever you're blatantly burning people's religious texts. That's something that, you know, I could understand why people would be offended and annoyed by it. But is it really worth killing someone over? Does that do yourself any favors in the grand scheme of the world? Probably not. Majority of the people who are probably good people but not acting Muslims are looking at this and saying, wow, okay, yeah, it's very disrespectful, and that does suck that there are people who are burning your book, but that person bought that book with their own money, and then they went to their house and they burnt it. And sure, they're posting it publicly, but we're free enough to do that, especially in the Western world, which Sweden is part of the Western world, though it doesn't necessarily seem like it. Allah Akbar, as my Swedish friends say. But I don't understand where you think that rioting and destroying things, sure, it makes a point. It lets people in the small area that you're in know what's going on, that there was somebody who burned your book and you're very offended by that. But you can't just react that way. That's like if somebody's going to talk about your mama, you're going to go and punch them in the face? You're going to try and act like Will Smith? Like you can just go around and do whatever you want to like that? That's not how society works either. There's rules and parameters that we have to abide by. But a lot of times people don't abide by them. Sure, you want to be respectful to each other, but when the point crosses to physical violence, that's where that line is drawn. You have discussion after discussion after discussion, and you should be having discussions, but as soon as you start throwing rocks, as soon as you start chopping heads off, as soon as you lose civilization right there. You cannot even have a conversation. So how do you handle this? I would say Muslims, or extreme Muslims, because I would assume extreme Muslims are the ones who are doing this, right? Probably extreme Muslims, not extreme Christians. Extreme Christians would probably react the same way, but there's not a lot of extreme Christians. Are there a lot of extreme Muslims, or aren't there? Because there's a lot of riots going on right now because somebody did something, but they didn't actually do anything to you. It was a symbolic gesture. Do a symbolic gesture back to them. Symbolic gestures are fine. That's not physical violence. But once you get to physical violence, all roads lead to shit. And it's not. It's just going to come to people clubbing each other in the faces with their skeleton hands. Why? Why? Because somebody hurt your feelings. That's what it comes down to. Sure, it's a spiritual book, but it's just a book. They can make more of them. You're going to burn the Bible? Don't. People burn the Bible. People do burn the Bible here in America anyway. And I have friends who are edgelords, super edgelords. And they play music and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna burn the Bible on my." And like, yeah, I know. That's been done. Everybody's kind of bored with that. burn the Quran if you're really ballsy, because you see what happens, right? Now, is that a good thing? Or do you need to cater to the Muslims and not hurt their feelings? And it's not all Muslims, obviously, because there's a bunch of Muslims who are reasonable, who live in the advanced societal world where you understand that, yeah, there's going to be people who disagree with you and they're going to be saying different things. Surely, I have a lot of Muslim friends who do not react that way, who do not act that way. So, why is this reaction happening like this? Who are these people and why are they reacting that way? It seems like there may be something a little different, a little more, that we're not necessarily getting all of the story. But we'll see. It seems that people go crazy. People do go crazy for crazy things. But this again, what the hell is going on here? Sweden, you're having Muslim riots. Muslim riots in Sweden, and it happens in France too, doesn't it? Doesn't it happen all over Europe now? Either way, it seems like they have some issues that they need to figure out, and hopefully they'll be able to figure them out. But how do you do that? Do you tell the right-wing guy to stop talking about what? I mean, that's his freedom. That's his freedom to do that. He has the freedom to do that. But the Muslims also have a right to react in kind, but no one has the right to perform physical violence on people and destroy their towns and cities and mess everything up. I know I'm just preaching to myself about all of this, but what exactly can you do? What is the answer to these things? Multicultural societies, that's what we all live in these days, so we do have to learn to deal with each other, and there's always going to be people who react this way. But how do we get those numbers down? How do we get it to a better point? So at the end of the day, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether your favorite book is Harry Potter, if somebody's burning Harry Potter books, I'm going to be offended, but I'm not going to go punch them in the face. I'm not going to punch them in the face for the Bible, but I'm not necessarily a practicing Christian per se, so it doesn't necessarily bother me so much. But I understand the sentiments that come with it, and I understand why you would be offended if someone did. But there's a slippery slope. You can't just do whatever you want and just start being like, oh, why they offended me, I'm going to go burn their house down. Is that the world we want to live in? I don't think so. I don't think so.